Welcome to the Financial Freedom Series. Um, this is season 2, or episode 2. So this is our second session. I'm glad to see everyone here. And everyone here, I could say, anytime you see someone or come out to a second session, these are the serious people. These are the people that really want to dive deep into their finances, to really understand what's going on with their financial situation, and they're really interested in correcting anything that's going on and making it better and going forward to get to what we all want, and that is financial freedom. Okay? To get there is it's not that hard. It just takes a lot of dedication, discipline, okay? And not just discipline from you, but your spouse, your partner, anyone that you have a financial connection with. It takes discipline from them also. So anything you learn from this series, what I need you to do is go and talk to that person or talk to anyone that you're having, unless you're single and don't have any other connections and you're on your own, please have that conversation with that person. And please either tell them everything that you're that you're hearing today and give it to them and let them say, hey, you have to be on board with this. If you're not on board, this is not going to work. If you're on board, we can get there. We can get to financial freedom. So with that said, did everybody enjoy their dinner? Yes. I want to give props to the chef, Kendrick Daly. All right. He did a great job. His, what was it, salmon Alfredo? That's all I'd say. I would take credit for it, but that's not my specialty. So I can't say I taught him that. But that's what I'm talking about. Kendrick watched my wife and I and how we had a restaurant in the beginning into 2000s. And then he was a little kid running around. And he enjoyed seeing us running around cooking and doing things. And in the house we were cooking and all that. And then all of a sudden he said, you know what? I want to start cooking myself. And as you can see, he's 30-something years old now. And he's a really good cook. And why? Because he was dedicated. He wanted to do it. And it goes along with that whole thing of wanting that freedom. You know, wanting something so bad that you're going to take the time to say, hey, daddy, or hey, mother-in-law or somebody, help me. Because Kendrick would tell the story of how he would go to New York where his in-laws are and sit down and watch the cooking channel with his mother-in-law. Okay? Because that's all she would do. And she would go online and buy all this kitchen equipment and all this. My point in saying that is he was dedicated and he wanted to really fix his situation. And that was fixing his situation. I want to be able to cook. I don't want to go out all the time. I want to be able to go to the grocery store, buy something, cook it, and save myself money. Now, I'm tying that all to the financial freedom, okay? If you're constantly going out and spending $20, $25 every meal, every time, that takes away from your financial freedom. Food is the worst of it all because food, when you're buying McDonald's, when you lose track. So that's that. I'm gonna show you when I get to the profit and loss and the income statement. I'm gonna show you where that is and where the line items are. Food, entertainment. Okay? So with that, you'll see clearly how big of a chunk it takes out of your bottom line, your net. Okay? So thank you for the dinner, Kendrick. Again, my name is Derek Daly, entrepreneur, business owner. This is for the folks that haven't been here, and philanthropist. Been doing this for a long time, and I'm just trying to take the opportunity to share as much as I possibly can in all I've learned along the way, especially with this crowd. I love having black males, black females in here that are engaged in wanting to do something at the next level. So I'm going to get right into it. Okay, your income statement. Okay, last month we covered the balance sheet. I went through the lines and said, okay, the balance sheet is this, this, and that. And I say, okay, what is your personal income statement? Okay, top line. Top line is your W-2 income. Okay, and the way I look at it and the way to simplify this is I want you guys to look at things from a net perspective. So whatever hits your bank, okay, that's your net revenue. That's your net income. Okay? Don't worry about your taxes. I mean, I could go into break down your taxes and all this and that, but don't worry about that for now. We're going to just look at your net. So how many people get paid every 2 weeks? Pretty much everyone? Okay. So that's good because I put it on the charts that we have that I'm doing it bi-weekly. Okay. So what you got to do is pretend if you're not, I see one person say that they're not in bi-weekly, but what we're going to do is go bi-weekly, stretch it out to a month, and then go monthly and then yearly. Okay? So we're going to look at your income bi-weekly, and then what I want you to do is on your chart, if you know, put your spouse, partner, significant other, whatever, that person that you have that financial connection with, put their bi-weekly revenue, income, whatever down. So that's that line. Okay. Another one is other income. If you have rental income, if you have, business income that actually pays you, because this is your personal, this is not a business, but this is actually, if you get a distribution from your business, that's another line item that you could put in and put it in your income statement or inside your revenue income line. Okay? So the next one then I'm going to talk about then is your expenses. That's a part of what is your income statement. So your expenses are, I do a little differently. I put in all of your payments. Okay? Some of the things that when it comes down to your payments are different because if you're doing a straight accounting, your payments would be put in your balance sheet and they would then reduce your loan amount, and then it would then just principal would hit and the interest would be put down in the income statement. I'm not doing it that way because I'm doing it similar to a hybrid of an income statement and a cash flow statement. So you actually clearly can see how much cash is actually going out the door. So this is a blend. Okay? So I know some of you probably went online and were like, well, let me look at this and see how it is. So it might be a little different than what you've seen online or whatever. So, but this, in my experience, gets you to that true number that you need to see at the bottom and say, okay, this is where I stand. What we're looking for is clarity. If we could get to clarity, we could get to a solution. If we could get to clarity, and I'm not just going to say everything's bad, you could say, oh, wow, I'm doing great. You know? Or you could say, I'm doing the right thing. I actually got this. But until things become clear, again, you don't know if you don't know what the income statement's all about, you're just going to keep going and going and going and going. You're like, why am I doing well? Why am I doing bad? But now you're going to know. So that's really, truly the importance of understanding your income statement so that you can move forward and say, okay, what I want to do. What do we all want to do? We want to grow our bottom line. We want to grow the amount of cash that we have in our pockets after we paid everything, after we paid our daycare bill, after we paid our rent, after we paid our this. We want to grow that bottom line. Okay? And by doing that, you could either you have to do two things. You either got to increase your revenue or decrease your expenses. Okay? Some of the people in here have gone through the exercise with me, and some have done both. Some have increased their revenue a little, but really dived into their expenses, decreased their expenses, and then all of a sudden they find themselves in a better place. You know, where sometimes you got people that say, well, I had to take a second job because I didn't have enough money, blah, 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 blah. Well, if you really might have just looked at this income statement and find out what was in there, you might have been able to reduce some of your second job, your expenses, and not having to take up that time away from the weekend that you might have been taking to go work at a Walmart or a Target or whatever, or a security job or whatever, you know, to have that little extra money. And then what happens is you have what we call it, the most valuable thing that we all need and all have is time. Time with our family. Time for God. Time for just chilling. Time for rest. I mean, that's all a part of financial freedom. Because if you're out there constantly hustling. We had this conversation today, just today, about, you know, how I want to cut out my Saturdays for my mom. Because it's important for me to spend time with her. Okay? Now, if I was kept running and then cut out a day or 2 days or whatever, and I find myself now, I'm not preaching to you, but I find myself now having time to go to church. So now, 3 p.m., I go to church. 1 hour, 2 hours. I have that time because I'm not having to say, well, I got to go do this to make this money. I'm not going to do this because I got to pay this bill. Because I figured out that, hey, when I do this, goes back to what I'm saying. Eat out less, cook more, make more money. Eat out less, cook more, make more money. Bottom line. Eat out less, save on gas, cook more, make more money. Save on partners' food, kids' food, cook more, make more money. It's as simple as that. It's a hard thing to do because we all want to get DoorDash and Uber Eats, and we all want to get some delivery service that we're paying that extra $20 for to get. But you got to understand, it's going to mess with your bottom line. It's going to take away. And then, again, either you're going to say, okay, I don't care. I want to have that expense. You got to find that revenue. Correct? All right. So this is exactly what I'm talking about here. So your revenue minus your expenses equals your net income. Your revenue minus your expenses equals your net income. Okay? You make $1 here, you spend 50 cents here, and you have 50 cents here. You make 50 cents here, you spend 25 cents here, you have 25 cents here. 75 cents, 50, 25. The most important piece, net. Net. A lot of people keep worrying about this piece here. You know, I need to make more money. I have to make more money. I got to move to another job to make more money. To make more money. And it doesn't have to be that way. This is the killer. Because usually what happens, and we all know this, usually what happens, when you make more money, you do what? You buy more stuff. You spend more. You don't say, I'm going to make more money and then I'm going to start living the same lifestyle and then make more net income. You say, I'm going to make more money. Wow, I can buy that more expensive car, or I can do more things, or I can go on that more extravagant vacation. And this what? Stays the same. Or even, tell you the truth, sometimes, we all know this, sometimes what happens is you make more money and you have even more expenses, and this becomes negative. And then you're scratching your head. You're like, what is going on here? And that's what happens. That's exactly what happens. So that's what I'm going to try to give you exposure of. I'm going to give you exposure of this, especially your expenses. Your revenue, make it. Your expenses are the key. You reduce your expenses, you get more, and then we go to the next episode 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is, okay, when I make more, what do I do with it? How do I make this make me more without having to go here? Because there's another piece to this that goes around, and that's the investing part of it. Okay? Take that money that you make, that you made more with, and let that money start making money for you so that you go over here and make more money. You see what I'm saying? That's episode, I think 5. 5, 6, and 7. Because I'll tell you one thing, just to give you a heads up, just to give you an advance look at what's coming next after this one, it's that whole cash flow. It's that whole, okay, what am I doing with my cash? What am I doing with my cash? And then after that is, how am I going to budget myself? How am I going to create a budget and stay within my budget so that I can hit the target that I need to hit? Can you see it? Can you see the flow? So this is the target. And you today are going to put that number in there, and we're going to try to hit that target. I still got time. So we're to this point right now that We're going to start doing an exercise. But does anyone have any questions of what I just said? No questions? No questions? No questions? Everybody understands that? Okay, great.